Well, coup de Tom. What? The track here is Demetori Jehovah. Wait, Jehovah's YaHVeH? Faith is for the Transient people? Huh? What the strangest names. This is one of the most insane tracks. And ironically, it's making me believe in this religion. But it's like so fucking fast. It's hard to keep track of. When I tried transcribing this, and I think I utterly failed because, wow, it is impossible to play. Like, I literally cannot play it whatever I transcribed. And I don't know if it's because maybe it's an octave pedal or what. But it seems to play higher notes, so I'm assuming it might be an octave pedal actually. Which I didn't really realise at the time because I don't know tones that well. I didn't know an octave pedal existed, to be fair. I don't think it could apply to this because I didn't know the note either. So when playing it, I was like, what the fuck? Like, it's even through the fire and flame situations, and it might have been. In fact, it could even be played that way. But it does feel very Dragon Force-esque with it enough because of its speed and its technique. In fact, I could try it. It's still. Oh, heck, did I? I feel like I broke something, but I don't know. So it's like. Oh fuck, I already screwed it up. I don't know. Can't remember this. So it's like, it starts on this note, but I play it up here in the view stream. What is it anyway? No, I can't remember now. I'm stupid. That's a note. No, it'd be G sharp, wouldn't it? So this is a G sharp. So F sharp, G sharp, yeah. It's playing like a G sharp somehow. So maybe it was downtuned or something to like C standard. That would be the lowest, and then octaved up, obviously. So it plays the higher sounding note, like this. And obviously you do that. But the only other way I think it can work is if you play it really high, like on the G string. Sort of. It's really difficult though. Because you have to be really fast, that's the thing, you have to pick it fast and then move fast. You sort of play it like that, but you have to be on the G string, that's just a weirder part. So I don't know. Again, it's a mystery to me. But yeah, I just love this track anyway. It's insanely fast, it's unique in a way. It's symphonic as well, so it's a bit different to Dragon Force. I feel like that's the inspiration for this. It's certainly the speed inspiration for it. It has to be. I wonder if someone's updated it, I'm curious. Demetori Faith is for the Transient people. Also, I swear someone else transcribed it for me. Maybe I edited it actually. So there's a song star. No, I think it's just my type. Because I'll be the BPM thing in between it. Let's see, let's try again. Guitar Pro, see what comes up. Ultimate Guitar, or Demetori by me. Up to see the song version 2, I think. Well, no, that's just. It's one from ages ago. This for the Transient people is just a tab, but I think Guitar Pro didn't I? And this is the Guitar Pro. Why isn't Chinese? Unless I renamed it. Yeah, I renamed it. There's the second one. Chinese. There's 2 Chinese T's for some reason. What is this? I'm curious how many of these actually have been updated. I've made in the Pocket Watch Blindness for my update actually. Yeah, how many B2s? So Border of Life updated. It looks different because it's got a different description. Maybe no, it's already on there I think. National Skyscraper, I updated that. Necrophagia, I updated that. Silent Voyage to Eternity, I updated that. What? I'm confused, when did I do that? Because why would I do it twice? So HYPERSKY, and apparently so. No, Winged Girl's already done. It's so hard to render some of these things sometimes. Also, someone's updated the uploaded tabs with the Japanese names, which is interesting. I'll look at these. Unless I did that. Again, I didn't really do much, didn't translate much. To see. Yeah, someone made their own. Like a full one for like deep mounting, for example. It sounds like mine actually. Yes, definitely is mine, I think. So there's a weird sort of tempo change, which is incorrect, I don't think. Which is weird. Then again, it has a harmony, so I don't know. Well, this one, Crazy Xenomorph. Can't remember if I transcribed this. It's not done by me, it's Klein Sound who's been uploading this. There's some. Again, it sounds like mine. So I don't know. Yeah, what about Determinist Chaos? Because that's one I originally did. Yeah, I think this is mine actually. Let's see. Yeah, again, I can't tell because it's like there's so many tabs out there. For some reason, Dream War, I didn't do that one. Decided not to do it actually. And sending it to naught. I remember updating this one actually. I sort of sucked at it. What's this one? Oriental Dark Flight. Again, it's just someone re-uploading it, I think. I literally transcribed this one out. What about the solo? Because the solo is usually a good indicator of whether it's mine, because I suck at it. Yep, that's definitely mine. Yeah, I could transcribe solos, and then what about When God Go? That is mine. Version updated it. So HYPERSKY is definitely updated there. I did do this one, I think. They added drums, they added bass, I think? No, just drums. Interesting. Salvage to Eternity. Author unregistered. What the hell? I guess someone added to it then. Yeah, I think I remade this tab actually, because I originally did it wrong. I didn't know the BPM and stuff, because I was still new to that. I was transcribing it. So it ended up not having a correct BPM for the entire thing, and then it turns out it's just 170. Yeah. Certainly mine, but edited I think, which is fine. I'm happy if there's edits. Also solo. Yeah, I think it was mine as well. Someone added a harmony, I believe. Yeah, it's just very interesting looking back on this. It's quite a trip down memory lane. Older life, I already know that. Chinese tea. Okay, this was updated. What the fuck? This actually added everything, because my version is the first one. Yeah. There's only 2 arrangements in that. Okay, I'm impressed. Hopefully someone updates it for Thingamajig, Rocksmith. So that would be really great. So I'm interested to see what they did with the bridge. It's got like a full symphonic arrangement, which is very impressive. The props for this one, 448309540. That's my credit card details, by the way. Yeah, it seems like it's updated properly. It's actually got the proper calls on it as well. This is actually great. It's playing the right ones. It's got the right bridge. It goes into this chorus. Yeah. What do they do with the lead? I'm curious actually. There's some bends in the lead which aren't there before. It's very impressive, I'm not going to lie, it's actually good. Because this is a song I wanted to learn for so long as well. The actual verse. Very interesting. Got the right ones this time. The pre-chorus. Is that what you call it? Don't know. BPM change again. This is the fucking jazz bit. Actually, I think it is my bit here still, but there's some change, I think. Like the opening chord is different. This is actually a jazz chord. It's actually got the proper like chord shape, if I recognise it. It's just like nobody can actually figure out what the rest of it is, so that's the interesting part. It's very good. That's solo. Is that different? Oh yeah. It's much better. Yeah, I'm still quite happy with this and just listening to it, vibing. Yeah, I'm quite happy with this. I'm going to rate it. It's definitely, I think, a 5-star. Because there's so much added to this, it's crazy actually. And I think I'm actually going to download it. I can't rate it because oh, okay. Change log, adjusted automation, that's more compatible, latest guitar version, yeah. It's fine actually. I'm very surprised. Yeah, happy with that. So good I'm downloading it. Yeah, and then there's other things I want to, but I've probably done these as well. There's tabs, there we go. So Chinese Tea, much better. My favourite tracks. It's Chinese Tea again. Famous with Transient people. But only one version. It's just not loading for some reason. One person wanted the official verse. Yeah, I already looked at this, didn't I? Yeah, it's basically the same thing. Same as my version. You could also tell by the sort of sloppy sort of slide notes in it. Because that's sort of a gimmick of my tracks, because I've made them compatible with Rocksmith. And the only way to get a slide to work without sort of putting it into Guitar Pro 5, which I later ended up doing, is to actually just slide it properly from note to note. But to sort of do that on the beat as well, because that's the problem with Guitar Pro, it doesn't always allow you to do it on the beat for some reason. It's such a finicky piece of shit. Ugh, didn't make sense of myself there with a hiccup. It's purely by accident, coincidence. Maybe they're listening to me. Maybe my G-string's about to snatch. Snatch? Yeah, sure. But yeah, this didn't mean for the intro to go this long, it's all turned into another topic itself. But yeah, I don't consider like trying to transcribe things again. At this point I'm just going to put my time into learning guitar and trying to make it work in terms of making music as soon as I start to do that. So yeah, it's just an interesting thing. So I need to check that Chinese Tea tab again. Like what's in the bridge is on the other instruments. I'm going to open it in Tux Guitar. Hopefully it won't bug out because it does that sometimes. Why do I have it already open? Yeah, let's go jump there. Come on, bridge key. Chorus, bridge. Here we go. It's just Fantasia. Yeah, Fantasia sounds great in this. I could actually increase the volume, I can't hear that. It's track 8. Oh. Yeah. Sounds amazing. Actually, weirdly enough, the Fantasia's kind of accurate. Yeah. Just obsessed with that bridge. It's so fucking unique. I recommend people listen to it because it's like you've never heard a track like that before. At least I haven't. And if there is anything that that's referencing, I need to know because I think I could listen to that type of music a lot more. It just sounds so fucking peaceful, it's strange. Anyway, I need to move on, I've spoken too long, said too much, and now the Guitar Pro gods want me. Well, I might as well say this. I was trying to figure out a way to portray this, and I think it is better to say it's like a bet or a wager. I don't know if the wager is the correct term here. This is in response to the stupidity of politics in the UK specifically, and it could also apply to elsewhere. But essentially what I'm saying is, if you're so afraid of socialists, let it happen. Because the worst thing that can happen is that you won't see your quote-unquote social justice, because that's what all these people believe for some stupid fucking reason. You won't see that come true. And that's because socialists are often on the right side of history. At least as far as I know it. And it gets really frustrating when I see so many people sort of lobbying and getting behind these far right parties, and you might think, next you're going to call them fascists and Nazis. Yes, I am. But that's for a very good reason, because there is evidence. But there's a difference if you just call them that just because they associate. But fascists and Nazis tend to have the same traits. They want to get rid of a certain population, either through imprisonment or death, which also implies murder. And among other things, they'll also prioritise helping the elite and the rich. So basically the top 1% of the population is more important to them than the other fucking 90%. Again, this is based in fact, and we've already seen this play out already. It's called the United States. Look into it. And what we see in the United States is complete disasters. As we probably noticed as well, the war with Iran has left us essentially bleeding, because we can't afford anything. We can't afford fuel, so we can't get places, exactly. And we can't even afford food because of that, because some people have to pay for fuel to work, and so everything's being fucked over. And again, this is a warning. This is what happens when you don't listen to what other people are saying. This is what happens when you don't retract your own beliefs. It just backfires. You get completely fucked over, you get backstabbed as well, which is another thing that happens when you vote for these parties. You just don't get any of the promises made, ever. Whereas even though you may not get as much on a left-leaning or a socialist party, it's still far better. And that goes for saying, really. What was I even at here? Again, it's fucking ridiculous. But yeah, like, again, this is the thing. I'm literally willing to bet that if we go into a socialist or left-leaning party and don't have everything addressed, I think that's going to happen, because I don't think you can do everything, even with the Green Party promising so much, with the Lib Dems or promising a fair amount. I don't think they're actually going to do a ton. I literally think they're just going to do a few things and then that's it. But I'm willing to be proven wrong. And the other thing is, if they were to do nothing, then you're free to laugh in my fucking face. If prices don't drop, laugh in my face. Constantly harass me till the end of my fucking days. And if that doesn't happen under these parties, it's such a big fucking bet, such a big wager that I'm willing to risk everything just to see that we get a party that doesn't actually just suck for once, that actually does a few things right. And again, I'm only putting it low because the expectations have always been low. I remember when Joe Biden was in power in the US, and simply put, there wasn't really anything. At most, I think he at least legalised gay marriage across all states, but that was it. That's the only thing I remember him doing. Everything else is kind of like, oh, well, he didn't do much. Because even if he didn't do much, I could be mistaken, but this is all I've found out in my few years of being alive. Admittedly, I wasn't into politics in the time that Biden was into it, and presidency, I mean. Again, it's far better to wager on the left rather than the rich elite. And this really goes without saying, if you're a working class person, you should not fucking listen to these people who are your bosses, who are the people who have control over you, who have control over your finances. These people are fucking dangerous, more often than not. And what really comes up as a result of that is, again, regardless of whether they're rich or not, there's still a place where it can go wrong, a place where it can go corrupt, and if anyone's actually like a reasonable person in these positions, like a CEO, CFO, manager even, just someone higher up, I don't know, there's many positions, then you should know to treat people with respect. And that should go for everyone, not just the workers, but the entire population. You should lead by example. You should do the right thing for these people who are at the fundamental level. They're the pillars of society. The same with minorities, and that's why you don't throw them under the fucking bus. If you have the chance to stand up for a minority, if you full well know there's one in your, I would say like constituency, but employment, whatever, you shouldn't have to follow the guidelines. You should take the risk. You should be happy to accommodate them and protect them. You can stand above everyone else and prove that you can be morally correct. Prove that you can care. That's far more important. And again, that politics, if the right party gets in, the correct party rather, then let that decide, obviously. Yeah. Well, I don't really know what else to add, because so many people are just really dumb about this. They just follow what the algorithm says. They stalk pages for the people who are like left-leaning and socialist for some reason. They have nothing better to do in their time. They're pathetic because of some reason outrage sells, but comedy can as well. And what greater comedy than obviously reform and restore voters and Labour to an extent. Anyway, I don't have anything else to add, but again, I'm willing to bet as big as this on something like this to happen. Again, if you really disagree with the left, show what can happen. Show us the worst things that can happen. Because that's what I want to see. I want to be proven wrong in those cases. I want to be proven that they won't address the cost of living crisis, which would be a priority. So yeah, I don't have anything else to add, so let's move on. Stemming from that concern around, what do you call it? However, I was also on the increase in that price for one of the issues I had. I was thinking about this because I think it's important. But I think what they're literally doing is trying to get me to be, not a menace of society, but at least someone who's just not very societally beneficial. And sort of my running theory as well is it's basically an ongoing genocide. Trying to literally take out the people who can't afford it and can't obviously be the quote-unquote master race of humanity. And that literally is all it is, it seems. But it baffles me because I'm just absolutely stuck in situations here, as in I have things around me that I can use to benefit myself. But the problem is, it's looking like they want to basically make me a lazy person and not encourage me to do anything. Like, with the extra money, I felt like, oh, okay, like, yeah, I use this to be beneficial to society, or be grateful for it, because I always has been, and I even talked about this a bit. I said before that I would be grateful for this, even if I got a different position or a different job. I mean, a certain position, although that is a different position, because I really want to change it, to be honest. It's weird, but even if I had tons of money, the only things I'd change would be quite minor. But even then, it would be like, it'd be so different, but not in the drastic ways that you see others do. Like, I'm not taking a fucking £5 million bribe from a crypto billionaire, for example. Where I feel they're trying to put me is in a darker place. It just feels that way constantly. And I don't really understand why they want to put me into further darkness. Like, what the fuck? It's just weird. What do I even say? Because it's just so troubling. Basically they want me to be a gamer or something my whole life, because that's probably all I can afford. And with music and stuff, I just feel so defeated because I can't afford fucking groceries that I can't even work for it. And then you look at what I actually do and how that's actually received. It doesn't do well. So I don't know what you're fucking thinking. It's not like I've had a change of circumstance or I've been paid a bit more. Admittedly, my free spending has been the best it's ever been in my life, and it's supporting potential careers and potential jobs as well. And according to other people, although I'm not 100% sure, I am a benefit to society by virtue of that and my beliefs, especially standing up for the working class, even though I'm not technically part of it. I'm just lower class, I guess. But apparently for that reason I'm a beneficial person. So I don't understand what the intent is here. Or why it is that people go after me, go after my throat for some reason, because I can't work, because I struggle with day-to-day tasks, and for some reason I need to work even though I struggle with day-to-day tasks. Okay. Weird suggestion. Blaming the finance subreddits. I just don't know. It's just such a frustrating situation. It feels so unnecessary. Like, this shit is why there are problems, and again, you're gonna see it eventually fuck over society, because people will start to become unable to work because their children, their grandchildren have committed suicide because they can't afford anything, they can't get by, they can't be themselves either. And this is why I sort of label restore and reform voters as genocidal fucking maniacs and psychopaths, because that's literally what they're doing. They're trying to cut off the portion of the world that is ultimately the pillar of it. It's trying to do good, but seemingly that's gonna backfire. It's just gonna cause so many fucking issues. And I really don't understand. Why would you want this? And even then, I have to look at people in the wealthy positions to say that these people are actively fucking themselves. Like, if you cut out the people who work for you, who work for the middle class, even higher class, because it all sticks together, like, hence the pillars. That's what we are in the lower class and working class. But if you knock them out, it all collapses. There is no middle class to save you, there's no higher class to save you. You're absolutely fucked over, each and every one of them. And this is why I started to say the far right party is essentially the backstab party, because they don't serve the people. They serve, like, financial interests. They serve corruption, they serve so many different bad things here. And we cannot ignore that. So again, I don't understand the intent here of trying to, I don't know, like, do like a gotcha or something, or try and put me in my place for what? For trying to be a good person, trying to be someone who isn't a fucking nuisance. Like, I'm not using my money to buy drugs, to buy anything illegal, to buy anything that's like wrong with the world. I'm not even buying AI. In fact, I've not spent a single fucking penny on it, and I've only used it like once just to see. And there may have been a second time, but I can't remember what that was about. It's probably a artwork actually. It's trying to make something similar to an image I was making, but it didn't. It couldn't even achieve that. It's fucking pathetic. Yeah, as I said, this is the sort of world that you bring people up in and you have to pay the consequence because, well, we already struggle. It's the same way I treat people who deny climate change. You have to face the consequence of whatever comes with that. Whether it's food production being shit, whether it's your children or grandchildren dying, the vulnerable dying, again you have to face the consequence. You're directly a part of it, and you know you're probably on benefits yourself and some other things, like who knows. And you're exactly the fucking problem. You're so selfish you can't even see past the positives of things or these consequences, you can't even see them. That's what I see with all this outrage as well. People are consumed by the hatred and outrage of things that's artificially created, by the way, because a lot of these things are pretty much nonsensical. And don't take my word for it, do research. But when we're talking about something fundamental, like, for example, gay people, animals are gay. There's gay animals. Like, what do I even need to fucking say? If you want to get rid of gayness, start with the animal kingdom. Because that's where it came from. Again, you're absolutely fucking stupid. So yeah, so I don't know. It's just absolutely ridiculous. So I'll move on. Well, I don't think I'll find anything more disappointing than the League of Gentlemen, but I have. It's actually really strange, because I'm pretty sure that has lower ratings. But I've got to admit, the thing that the League of Gentlemen has over this, which is Schitt's Creek, I'm also talking about, is that it has more character depth and ideas. It has just a lot of these random ideas that make it what it is. It's defining in a way. You can definitely recognise the characters from far. But unfortunately with Schitt's Creek it doesn't have that. And so it already loses out on a lot of the extremely important character development and building. And I obviously talked about this previously in my first impressions when I watched the first 4 or 5 episodes maybe? Can't remember. But I've got to admit, Schitt's Creek is one of the worst fucking comedies I've ever seen. It genuinely is awful. Like, what the fuck even is this? I cannot understand it, and apparently it won, 9 primetime Emmys? So, I just don't know, am I watching the same thing or what? It's very bizarre. Apparently it's won many awards over. Writers Guild, Artists Guild, like what the fuck? How? That's my question upon watching the first season and one episode of series 2. And even looking at the reviews, the fact that it just increases in rating doesn't leave me very hopeful. Because it's just going to be the people who are most into this show who are going to stick around. With season 4 having some of the best, and season 5 having some of the best, and season 6 also having the best ones. So it's just bizarre. I'm really not a fan of the show. It's kind of crappy, and from the premise as well, it just wasn't very interesting. It just felt like it's an entire idea, to be fair, but like a stuck-up Laronal sort of family with seemingly no worry for money, hence living in that place and then somehow being evicted, apparently because of fraud. That's what the description calls it. But it's so weird. Like, I don't know how to describe it, because they just then have to integrate into society to become something, someone, or to get back their own assets and stuff. And they just don't execute it very well. Because I get the sort of like rich person vibe from it, but it isn't like the most rich person vibe you could get. Again, the sort of small case where they have like butlers and stuff. But you don't really see much of that in this, despite that. And you know, they don't even bring up things like, oh, I eat caviar. It's like stereotypical. Admittedly, it's a bit different from that perspective as well. Like, there's a good sort of spin on it, but at the same time, it's not familiar. And you know, the very perception of rich people, especially in society now, not so much back when they were filming this, was pretty negative. I think it always has been, but it's been more negative now than it's ever been. So we end up with a very weird scenario here, where it just feels sort of like, yeah, feels samey in a way, but also not that different enough. Like, it's weird how I'm describing it. I think you'd have to watch it to see. So it sort of lacks in that area. But I'll go through each part. So suppose I'll start with the. What do I start with? I guess the music, because it's like a very minor thing. Nothing special. It's just some like brass instruments and some bit of like I think electronic and maybe drums as well. But nothing too noticeable. Again, it's just there. They have nice jingles in between the bits, which certainly adds to it. But there's like no, or like barely any music in between. I've noticed anyway. It seems to be very weirdly paced in that sense. So I didn't really get on with the music that well. It just was basic and did its job in areas where it was doing its job, but in other areas it felt lacking. Certainly the theme tune, at least it's short. I think I'll give it credit where it's due. So I get so tired of shows with long fucking intros, but it's probably more of a like early 2000s sort of thing, and also like anime. Anime for some reason still fucking does this. Like, piss off. Like, yes, we've seen the intro, we don't need it all the time. It's ridiculous. They might want to showcase great music, but I'll just save it for the outro. It's better. But yeah, so that aside, speaking of the arts, the acting, I might as well. It's not great. There are certainly notable moments. I think the character who played, what's her name? Was it Helen? I need to look it up now. I had the IMDb page open. For fuck's sake. Yeah, Johnny. It's not bad. Actually, I didn't realise that, but the actor for Johnny and David are related. It's crazy. Makes sense though, because they did look very similar. But anyway, Moira. Yes, so Moira was probably one of the most well acted characters in this. Catherine O'Hara. She's played by. Yeah, she's pretty good. Not gonna lie. Other characters are kind of meh in areas. I wouldn't say it's the best acting. Alexis is also good. David could be good for sure, although I will say, sort of playing to the stereotype, it's just a bit weird because I've got to admit, a spoiler, I'm not afraid to spoil this. David's character, David, is pansexual. And yeah, for some reason he's got a stereotypical fucking gay man's voice. Why? I don't know if this is how Dan Levy speaks in real life, so obviously sorry if that is the case. I don't have a problem with the voice, but for acting purposes, it might be worth just trying a different voice. And, you know, given the series has gone on long enough, it's a bit disappointing. They've probably gone with that the entire time. So, RIP, I guess. Just, wow. I don't know why we're still doing stereotypes. This day and age, just even in like the time this was made, what was it? 20. I fucking scroll wheel, come on, what's going on? 2015. So yeah, it's like almost at the peak of like when social justice and stuff became more of a thing, and social understanding as well, like understanding like gay people and stuff a bit better. That's when I noticed it increasing in, you know, favourability and acceptability, whatever you call it. So it makes some sense there, but at the same time it's based on a stereotype. The same way that unfortunately in media there's also a stereotype for trans people, which is just cringe at the thought. But could have done something different, they didn't, which is disappointing. But you know, acting, again, nothing special. I cannot identify anything that was notable in this in any way. It's just bare bones. It's not got really enough direction, I don't think, to obviously have like the best sort of shout or the best scream or whatever, or even the best cry if there is one. But this isn't a drama, so obviously they don't exactly need to, so it's not even the worst thing about this show. So it's not, again, that big of a deal. But I will say the next thing is a big deal, and that is the fucking story. As I've already explained from the premise, it was already not looking great. But I have to say, with watching 14 episodes now, I think it was 14, it's still bad, and I did not enjoy it. It had nothing going on that was interesting or even remotely funny. It seems like one of these shows where they seem to think like, oh, sex funny. They constantly make jokes like that, and admittedly a bit creative in areas, but other ways not really. But also they have this, oh, I'm going to see from a character perspective as well. Like, great, okay. So that's the humour now, and they get caught. Oh, what a surprise, haha. I've fucking seen it before, like, come on. It'd be even weirder if they did what, I was thinking of some reason Family Guy, but I swear there was another show that did something. You know, a bit weirder if it turns out. For his sister, but no. They could have done something different, but they didn't. They also lacks in that area. Trying to think what else it was in the story. It's a thing. It's not noteworthy enough. I can't even identify points in the story that I liked because it just wasn't that great. But you had weird characters everywhere, like Roland and Schitt, definitely. That's all like the love-hate relationship with Roland and Johnny. It's always sort of funny. It's almost like Homer and Ned in a way. As a comparison with The Simpsons. What else was there? So there's a story point with what's her name, Alexis, trying to get a boyfriend and stuff, which is always kind of interesting but funny in ways. Again, there's nothing noticeable. Johnny has some moments, but not anything too special. Same with Moira, just sort of like a spoiled rich person sort of vibes of that in a way. I'm trying to think what else. What's the other character? Oh yeah, that's Stevie. I'll say there's a weird part of like, the hunting, or whatever you call it. I wasn't sure about that, where they were going with it. In a way, it all makes sense for the weird town that it is, but at the same time, it's kind of like, oh, what the fuck. And then, among all this, I do think about actually logic in it. It sounds weird because you shouldn't really apply logic. But like, why don't they just get another fucking motel room? Like, why did Alexis and David have to share? That was the thing that was constantly going through my mind during that. Obviously they had spent their time in their previous house or mansion without that worry, without having to worry about walking in on someone else or what. I just don't get it. A lot of this just doesn't seem well written. Yeah, again, it's a comedy, for sure, but it's not a very good comedy. It's a satire. It's not a very good satire either. It's a sitcom, and it's not a very good sitcom either. In fact, what even happened to David's job? We saw that for one fucking episode, and then nothing happened. I don't know if he got fired or what, or maybe missed it. But this is the thing, the show also struggled to keep my attention span. No other show has done that. Like, what the fuck? It's just so bizarre. It shows there is something really wrong with this series. My god. And even with, like, the hopes of something different in episode, what's it, 13 of season 1? I think it is. You know, with that hope of them moving out of town, you might have thought, like, oh, finally. Might get a different change of pace, or might even change the circumstance, even if it just goes horribly wrong. No, they stay in the same place. Suddenly, status quo. Right. Then what's the fucking point? I don't get it. I will admit the way that the buyer dies is kind of funny. Sort of dies or hospitalises. And that is what delays them. I'm going to spoil it because why not? Yeah, it's like interesting. That was there's only a different way for it to go wrong. Probably not the best way though. It's a bit cliche, I guess, compared to other shows. I'm pretty sure they've done that. Yeah, what else is there? I don't know what else there is, to be honest. The world building isn't too great because I don't really learn much about Schitt's Creek, only about its characters, and you might think that, oh, well, that's fine. But there wasn't too much world building. I remember one about something about the roses being around a Clinton party dinner thing. There's an interesting comment about that. But that was about it. So you don't really know much else. You don't know much else about Schitt's Creek. You don't know much else about anything really. About even their previous life. Like, it seems to be very secretive for some bizarre reason. It feels like it shouldn't be. What the hell? What is going on with this? I just can't understand it. My god, what a disappointment. I don't think I've seen a show like this bad since again the League of Gentlemen. And I swear there have been other shows that are bad though. The only one before that comes to recent memory is probably, what's it called? Fullmetal Alchemist, but that's an anime. But it's supposed to be a comedy as well. So I'm not sure about that. It just feels very strange to me. So yeah, like, what do I even say? What do I even add? Again, it's just disappointment on disappointment there. So yeah, that's my thoughts on the show. I'm obviously not going to finish it, I'm just going to move on to the next series. There's nothing of note here, and I wonder if there's any like memes or anything about Schitt's Creek. I doubt there is for some reason, because it probably didn't do well. But I also kind of understand how it got the high ratings it did. Compared to like, that's actually genius, like Red Dwarf for example. You know, it's just bad. Yeah, it was a weird comparison because they're all different, but they're both sitcoms, I think. And there's the other one I was thinking, League of Gentlemen was much better. Even though it's like a dark comedy. Yeah, I don't understand it. What the popularity is, and I'll look at the reviews as well, look at them now. So what does 10 out of 10 say? Stick with it and you fall in love with the characters. Yeah, as you would. Granny crushing on David Rose. Yeah, sure. Comedic Genius, one of the most surprising shows ever. I've found episodes he hasn't laughed in since until season 4. Weird. Another person saying they grew to love the characters. Sweet slow buzz. Better watching the second time around, always too funny. Yeah. Again, these are sort of the things I expected to see. It did feel like it's one of those shows where if you commit, it might get better, but I'm not willing to. I've got other things to watch, better things to watch. Then what about the 9-star reviews? Cries on You, loves this show. Nearly Perfect, great show. Can't believe I never reviewed this. I've struggled to success. It's interesting. That's it, that's just everybody told me to watch the show, consistently resisted. Once I gave it a try, I couldn't stop watching. Okay, so it just hooks people, I suppose. About 7-star, and then I'll look at some 1-stars because there's probably some stupid reviews out there. Very funny contrary to negative reviews. If you don't like it, you don't get it. Yeah, I probably don't. I'm curious what the explanation is. I can't see any. Not a bad show. Good but not great. Nothing great lasts forever. Show David Rose favourite character. It was different. Up Creek with a comedy panel. Oh, yeah, great at first. What was it? Again, that's sort of thing I don't get it. But let's look at some more controversial ones like 4. Not sure who it appeals to. That's my thoughts exactly. Because I would have rated it a 4 out of 10 if I had a rating system, but I don't. It doesn't really describe an experience. That's what matters in these shows, whether you get an experience or not. Someone saying don't get it. Someone saying don't get fooled. True. Not the worst show on TV. I don't know. Like Trailer Park Boys, it's not funny anymore. That's one of the shows I plan on watching. For some reason I saw it on South Park subreddit because it was being suggested as a subreddit for some reason. And I was also curious about what it was about because I've heard about it before. So I've got it on my list of things to watch, I'm pretty sure. But more reviews here. Who's just for painful at times, not funny, got bored. Girls hardly cracked a smile. Same old shit. Never watched season 4. Mr. Mark started out great, they ended up poorly. Well, so if it gets worse, what's the point? About 1 star. Terribly unfunny. Feeling generous at 1 out of 10. The show is top of ratings. Flush this shit. The writers seem to hate people. Such an appropriate title. Bad show. Worst show I've ever watched. Vivian talents are wasted on this turkey. Bad in every way. Pitiful effort. Someone to help Chris. Yeah, what? The fuck is this about? Is this a recent one? No. Okay, that's interesting because. Am I reading this wrong? Or. I don't want to misgender it. I don't know. I'm not going to bother commenting on that, but I'm pretty sure there's an Elliot who transitioned recently. That's what I thought, maybe there's a reference to that. Maybe it's been edited, but I don't know. The review says painful, invisible failure of a television show, 6 seasons, question mark. My thoughts exactly. Started watching this show, 2nd episode, of shock and disbelief. Yeah, yeah, it's just fucking terrible. So yeah, a lot of people just sort of have the same sentiment I do. It just doesn't seem to achieve anything of note. It's nothing special. I won't put it above a 4 out of 10 in my sort of ideal rating system. But I wouldn't also put it too high. I wouldn't put it too low either. Yeah, it's strange. Like, what happened to this show? Sort of my question with this. Because that is kind of what's going on here. There has to have been a reason. Why it must have been this crap to begin with. So yeah, I don't really have anything else to add, to be honest. Just one of those things. Really feels like a shit show, ironically. It had so much potential and then it just squandered it, and it came in as a recommendation because I came out as pansexual, and you know, sort of a thing really. Some people know that in my life, and it was a recommendation from one of them. And it's kind of just off on a whim then. I know this character is. This show actually has some representation, and yeah, it does. I'm not gonna lie. It does have some representation of different types of people here and there, but at the same time, looking at it, it's a bit offensive because this is not what gay people look like, look or sound like, even then pansexual, and I am pansexual myself, so you might think like maybe it's a show for me, but no. I just ended up being disappointed in the end. It is disappointing. Because it's one of the shows I was looking forward to. I keep hearing about it, and then just turns out it's not anything special. There is almost a bit of me that wants to try it, just to see where the fuck it goes. And also like what season it is that makes people think, oh yeah, this is great. And compared to anything else, like, this is the thing, Simpsons is funnier than this. And yet this has a higher rating somehow. Like, what the fuck is going on? And I'm not talking old Simpsons, modern Simpsons. The modern Simpsons is like... it's basically one of the worst versions of itself. But it still has good humour here and there in the story, and I did also see that YaHVeH video on it. They said it's gone down a bit, but I'd argue it's about the same as it has been past the climb, whatever you call it again. But yeah, The Simpsons was much better than this, I have to admit it. I think that's really saying something. So yeah, don't really know what else to add, to be honest. I think just not a show I recommend. It's not funny, it's not really that satirical, I think, taken into consideration. So yeah, I shall move on. First, it was the Wallace and Gromit live action, which only for some reason went on my recommended recently. It's on the cusp, well, it's the cursed thing, I think, that you won't recover from it. Send help. But look at this other thing, I think I need even more help. NVIDIA has released a video on GeForce, whatever you call it, and it's advertising GeForce trading cards. Something that everybody always wanted. Their truest desire in their heart, in their soul, in their anus, in their pee-pee. That's what anyone ever wanted. But they're actually doing this, which is fucking weird. There's only one trailer, but why? As the comments are saying, I thought this is a April Fool's joke at first. It's like, it's not. It's July 9th. And for some reason they're making fucking trading cards. What? What alternative reality have I just fucking woken up into? Maybe that's why I can't get any sleep. Maybe I'm just being like multiverse travel, I don't know. I don't know how to describe it. But I'm guessing I've woken up in another weird timeline. which I have nothing to do with, and I'm like a paradox. Eventually, I'm going to meet myself, and then the world will explode, as it's destined to be. I can't really believe this. Like, what the fuck? Why? And to me, it just seems like, is it like they've looked at something else out there, like Pokemon, saw the scalping situation, and thought, you know what, it'd be great if our cards are scalped as Pokemon. They saw the One Piece ones are scalped, so it'd be great as if their cards are scalped. Even though nobody's gonna fucking buy it. Hardware is such a niche thing that nobody would actually want it. And if this is your attempt at getting into a gaming space, tough shit. You are and are meant to be a fucking hardware manufacturer, not a trading card manufacturer. Again, this just feels like a joke. Seriously, what are you doing? Where's the next series of video graphics cards? And when are you going to announce that you've ended your relationship with Trump, so we can finally go back to fucking normalcy? Back when the RTX 30 series was like a cool thing and you'd take out the oven or something. I can't remember what happened then, this is so long ago. It feels like so long ago. But this is ridiculous. And what the fuck are we doing here? And as some of the comments pointed out, it looks like it's AI generated, possibly. And the card packs are probably going to cost a ton as well. Yeah, this does feel dystopian as hell. I see a Gamers Nexus video about this coming up soon, probably. But this is absurd. Again, what are we doing here? This feels just eerie. Like, I'm not sure if the term is uncanny, because that usually describes things that are just too like real or too similar, but I don't know. Again, it just feels so bad. We're wasting money for this, we're wasting resources for this. RAM is higher because of this. Again, what are we doing here? It seems like an obvious fucking distraction. It's so ridiculous. And there isn't even much to go off of on the description from. So again, what are we doing? It says here, video GeForce trading card series 1 generates GeForce in your hand. Series 1 celebrates graphics cards, tech demos, and games that started it all. GeForce trading cards series 1 packs will be available free at upcoming live events and community giveaways during summer of RTX. So yeah, it may be free, but why? What is this even for? What the fuck is going on? I cannot understand that. And again, this just feels like a waste. And look at the images, like, I'm assuming these are like tech demos. It's like a chromatic chameleon. You see a bunch of images in the cards, but I don't know what they are. And there's like a tech demo of some sort, using a cube map. There's a Medusa or someone there. Graphics card. It's like an old series. Like, what? Can you see a series on that? It's very old though, because it hasn't got a heatsink. Ace. I don't know what that is. Yeah, what the fuck? Yeah, the fact these are like trading cards. It's so weird. I can't understand the logic. This is why I'm kind of going with AMD. I already knew that Nvidia is sort of losing now because they've made a joke of themselves. Not just for sucking up to Trump, which AMD have done too, but also just making things so damn expensive for everyone else because of their partnership with absolutely stupid companies and corrupt companies for that matter. With AI that destroys the fucking planet, that destroys bills and whatever. There's so many things wrong with AI I shouldn't need to reflect, or what's the other term? Repeat, that's it. Repeat everything that's been said already. I'm on TikToks, I'm on YouTube Shorts, I'm on just various videos about the claims and stuff. Again, there's so many things that just seems to be going wrong here. And then of all things to see today, this was one of them. Hello? Then what is going on? Are you serious? Anyway, I'm gonna go back to watching the live action Wallace and Gromit. A 3-minute clip with a very cursed looking Gromit and Wallace. For some reason, almost like a PG version rather than a sort of E for everyone. Anyway, let's move on. So, I think I've finalised my PC design. Kinda. I need to recalculate the TDP or total. Is it TDP? I'll look at TDP calculator. Yeah, there it is. So, process AMD, AM5, 9900X. Not overclocked. Fun fact, I actually overclocked a GPU once. It was an MSI 670. Oh god, it's a meme. I think it was a 670. I think I used to have that, and it sort of crashed. It didn't really work because I overclocked it too high. But the thing is, it's just not worth it. For the little bit of performance just squeezing out, it is just not worth it, especially with the amount of like shite sort of in that, I guess. So not really worth that much exactly. So no point. Yeah, it's like what the hell? How many fans am I going to have? I think 7 is enough. Is Jim calculates. Why is it saying 1300 watt? Your maximum wattage requirement 599. Okay, so I just need to go over 650 then. Like, what the fuck is this calculator? I'll go through it in a sec. All the mass has their own. Okay. Didn't know they did that. Let's try theirs. So go AM5. There's embedded CPUs. The hell are those? They're like in the actual thing itself. Strange. Never heard of it. Yeah, that's in the RAM. Some reason it doesn't list. Oh, 32GB DDR5 2. There we go. I was about to say that. What the fuck? SSD 1 TB plus 4, I think. Actually, one of them was a HDD. Oh, that's right, yeah. Yeah, I still kept one from my very old system because it just had a lot of fucking files on it. Yeah, you never know, I don't use it enough, but over time my hard drives just get shit. There's no optical drive, so the calculator is 574 watts, okay. So it's the right number, I think. But basically I've decided, and something that's changed my system a bit. Going with Ryzen 9900X simply because more cores better, and also it's faster than my current CPU, so it's already going to have a performance advantage. The only reason I'm not getting a 9800X 3D is because I'm not necessarily using this for gaming. I don't want to go overboard, so I just want to get more cores so I can run things. That's the main point of the system, because at the moment it doesn't run very well. And also I'd like to try and decrease the latency and buffer size in FL Studio so I can actually start recording again. And I can record in it, but it's fucking laggy. I don't really know how to address that exactly because FL Studio is just jank. I would try something else, but I don't know where to get some of the... Well, I don't even know how to learn actually about making it, because FL Studio has accessibility on its side. But others I don't see that. I've tried before and I can't figure out how to even write a fucking MIDI or pattern. So there's just no point. So that's why I'm getting a better CPU instead. But in the long run it'd be better and also more efficient. So that's the main reason behind that. Then more important, not surprisingly, I'm just going to get a Gigabyte X870E ARS Elite. Mainly because of the extra USBs. I did get a suggestion of getting a smaller motherboard and then getting a PCIe, but the problem is I don't know how efficient that is. Well, I'm not really looking at transfer speed, but rather latency. So I don't know exactly what I'm looking for in that, and also how to even install it, because these systems are not like Lego. I've done it before. I've tried to transfer a system from one case to another, like literally dismantle it except for CPU and fan controller and stuff. And it sort of failed, and it turns out I was missing a fan controller plug before it actually launched properly. I actually figured that out without any help somewhere, which is weird. But yeah, that's sort of the main thing. I'm a bit skeptical about it, about how efficient that works, if it does work even. I rather could upgrade it later, but I want to sort of save it for something else anyway. If that ever comes up, you never know. It could be like a bloody capture card or something. Like, there's different things it could be used for, other than just USB ports, but still a lot of USB ports would be good. Just simply for everything I plugged in, like tablet, keyboard, mouse, USB, what was it? Yeah, sort of like a portable SSD. I have like a third backup for all the files I have on my cloud storage, just as a safety precaution, because you never know. It might just disappear one day. I forgot what the other things were. Locksmith cable, microphones. Don't need to be high transfer speed, but it'd be better if they're not plugged into the fucking hub that I have at the moment. The hubs are very finicky, that's the problem. And also the USBs on this are finicky as well. And this current motherboard, I don't know what the deal is, it just disconnects every now and then. It's good to have options, that's the main point. And also extra USB for charging and stuff would be good. And maybe I could even like permanently have it plugged in the disk drive thing, the external disk drive, because I still have one. So right down there, it's a cute little thing, but it certainly works. I have used it before. It does do its job. I've used it to install stuff actually. It's actually I forgot about this story actually. I think I had got some software, I think it was a Steinberg. Yeah, it must have been the Steinberg interface, and it came with a free digital audio workstation, which was weird. I think it was like their own. I can't remember. But you needed the disk to install it, I think. So I just used the disk anyway. And the door was shit. Didn't work. Didn't do anything. So I ended up never using that. It turns out it's only compatible with Steinberg, so great. What's the point then? So I never used it. Never got along. Anyway, not other than motherboard. RAM, not surprisingly, 64GB core 7 engines. 6,000 megahertz, and it's 2x32. Unsurprisingly, because I do need more RAM. It's weird, because 32 gigabytes is not enough on this current system. It currently peaks quite a bit, and I don't exactly know why it does, because there isn't much using it, unless there's something not listed in Task Manager that's actually consuming it. I don't actually know what it's doing. There seems to be some bug or something on Windows, or again potentially a virus or something, even though it should be essentially terminated, because I'm not an idiot. I run virus software, live action ones, or whatever you call it, real-time actions. But it's so weird. I guess I just need the extra RAM then, especially with all the things I'm running, like the Word documents with anywhere from 10 to 100,000 words in it. It depends on what it is, really. And that just helps. But also I can upgrade in the future if it's too slow. I had an anxiety about one of the YouTube shorts, someone making their own fucking RAM slot. Well, RAM, rather. Not making it, but cutting it to size. Anxiety inducing. It's painful. It's like hundreds of pounds, but I think it was like a crappy kit, luckily. Also, what's that other Corsair? It's branded RAM called? I can't remember. they have Vengeance and then they have something else. I remember it from years ago. But they used to have like a different brand of RAM. It then used to be Vengeance. Also, I'm not going RGB, fuck the rainbow font. And then obviously graphics card. I'm gonna have to go bigger and better, I think, this time, not against my will rather. I think it's just gonna have to be 9070 XT, and that's, let me double check. What's a 9060 XT, like, because I'm not looking for top performance benchmarks. Okay, let's go with that. So what are the benchmarks for 9060? Steve doesn't look happy. That image gave us access. Let's see what A-list at the bottom. Overlay list gave us access to an amazing source for extremely in-depth detail for cards. 9070 is still behind the 4080. Where is the 5060 on this chart? I'm surprised I don't always highlight it. Did I say 5060? I meant 9060. Huh? Where is it? I can't find it. So this is 9070. Am I on the right thing? Yeah, 9060. It's not even on the fucking list. I can't see it. Maybe it's on the 1440p because that's 4K. So 1440p. Let's go from there. It's 970. 70. There it is. Sapphire Alt 9060. But the 9070 is twice the performance. What the fuck? How? What about FFX IV? 68 4K for 9070, and there is 9060 UWR 40. Yeah, weird. There's almost like a 50% performance difference up to 100. Well, it's kind of a no-brainer, I think. What about something with RT? Black Fucon, I imagine that has it. So, let's see. Is it 4K high? No, it doesn't say the thingy. Dying Light maybe? No. Cyberpunk, that must have it. 4K Ultra. Is it on? It doesn't say. So I don't know. No ray tracing, there we go. It's its own separate thing. Because I'm not fussed about it, but it's kind of cool to have if it has it. It's still not good, well, even on the 9070, and it's still like a 20 to 50%, a 50 to 70% performance increase over the 9060. It's just crazy. So yeah, I'm still going with that then. Fuck it. It's a no-brainer again. So I might as well go with that. I might look at the sort of visual options where I'm not fussed really. It's sort of like a super PC. I don't know why the Sapphire Nitros thing. It looks ugly as hell. And again, there's a cool side. Maybe I might go with that. It might use up their inventory, give it to someone who obviously wants RGB vomit. Maybe not, I don't know. I'll decide at the time. And then storage obviously went for, I was thinking just 4 terabyte, but I might go down to 2, because when I really think about it, the biggest problem with this drive isn't that I can't fit everything on it. Well, I actually can, somehow, but I'm peaking so close to it that at a certain point, I think I should just go with something a bit smaller, regardless. But then again, that makes me worried for other things, like FL Studio, for example, when there's a ton of audio files. So I don't know, but 4 terabyte should be enough. Then power supply 650 FSC. Cooling, I wanted to go with a Noctua DH15, but for some reason PC Specialist doesn't have one. They used to. but I'm going to go with an Arctic liquid freezer because that's what Gamers Nexus uses. I'm just going to go with a basic one, no fucking RGB. I'm not actually sure like what the sort of benchmark for coolers are exactly. If Gamers Nexus has any, I'll look it up, but let's look at one of the other ones, the same sort of range. Maybe one of the fancier ones, maybe not actually. They're quite expensive. Because I was thinking like maybe I want a display on it for the temperature, but then again it seems kind of stupid because why would I look at it? It's just kind of pointless. So I don't know, maybe I'll just go with the Arctic liquid freezer. And then I'll add an extra fan to the case. I forgot the case, the Fractal Meshify 3. It's a very nice case from what I could tell, and it's also really well designed. It came from what I could tell for like thermals and noise. So it's gonna have to do. I didn't want one with a tempered glass side. I sort of wish they went with acrylic, but I don't know how safe that is. My older PC case actually used to be acrylic, so it does work, but it just had a window, I think, a small window, and that's all I want on a PC. I don't want a giant fucking window. It's exposing and just pointless, and then tempered glass smell it for some reason shatters into many pieces rather than what it's supposed to do, where it's just supposed to be like a couple of pieces at a time. So I'm just not sure about tempered glass ever, especially on like something like my current PC here. Like if I tap it, it didn't break, but I'm worried it will. But it's been so finicky as well to just put in because of the fucking stupid frame, this bloody thing. I can't even put the panel on properly, actually, having said that. So it's just never good. Well, also I'll probably detach it when I box it up because I don't want that going everywhere. A bit dangerous really, a bit stupid as well. I think when I box it up as well, I keep it sort of tight because it might stop it from breaking, I think. Because really where tempered glass breaks is there's either a crack in the sort of the framing of it, as in like on this where it's got metal around it and it's probably adhesive as well. You can actually sort of see the frame of it anyway. But it sort of cracks from there, or it cracks from the tightness of the bolts on the side, which can impact it and apply pressure, which applies more pressure than you can actually think, because it's basically the same as squeezing it on a hydraulic press, I think. I could be wrong with that. But it's just basic physics, I think. I'm not a physicist, so I don't know. But that's my best guess. In terms of like physics, is the basics I know. But the pressure definitely adds to it. So also if it's warped as well, that can add to it. If it's too warped, I mean, and the same with like that pressure, it will add to it. So if it's got like, I don't know, 400 kilograms of pressure on it, which probably, I can't remember the max actually tempered glass has, but it goes up pretty high. And yeah, that happens. What's the other thing it could be? I don't actually know. It's just warping, I think, and cracking. So yeah, it's a decent case other than that, for no side panel. What's the next thing? Actually there's nothing else from this. So yeah, that's just a full build really. I'm not looking forward to setting it up, to be honest. I feel a bit anxious about it because I have to obviously transfer a few drives and plug in all the USBs again. I'd also have to turn it on first and get it installed and whatever, make sure it works. Also install drivers and whatever, make sure that works. Probably be like both AMD. I wonder if there's a software for that, I don't know. For like checking drivers and shit. It's kind of exciting as well, getting a new PC, and especially one that's far more powerful. It's just like this current one, 5800X CPU, 3070 obviously GPU, obviously that's NVIDIA, 32 gigabytes of RAM, 4x8 sticks, 3600 megahertz. And it has a 1TB M.2 SSD in it as well, and the motherboard is a B550. It's not anything special, to be honest. But I got the tough version instead because someone said it was better, and I just don't see the difference. They said something about like the heat sinks or something, making it last longer, but I somehow doubt that. I don't think it made any difference because it's starting to fail now. It's not future-proofed. So I don't know. But it'd be good to get a fresh install of Windows on a new one. It's the main reason I thought of reinstalling everything. It also puts all my software in one place and allows for storage on that, or whatever it is. We'll need to sort of figure things out with, what I need to install exactly. But that'll come with time, I think. I did have a strong consideration for installing Linux, but I'm not in the mood for it. I can't take the stress anymore. I don't need any more in my life. I think it's really for people who don't have any stress. There's just no point anymore in that. Where I would have openly accepted it had it not been for that. And, you know, I've thought about tinkering with it in terms of having it on this system in like a virtual machine situation, but I'm not even sure about that, to be honest, and I've only got 6 days until I order this thing anyway. So yeah, I don't really have anything else to add. But assuming I do get this PC, it'd be good, I think. But it will probably fix whatever's wrong with my current system, whatever it is, where it lags, where it overheats and shit. Obviously the call will be different, but this is like by far one of my most expensive things. Up there with the Schitt guitar, which I'm apparently only a few months away from. I did check my invoices to see if there was any updates, and yeah, only I think a few months left. It's either 2 or 4 months. I wasn't 100% sure because I had to reset it, obviously. Can't remember if I explained it, but the problem with the Schitt is that they fucked up the order. Sadly, they forgot to put the right headstock on from that, because apparently I submitted it without, but I obviously didn't. I made sure it had that headstock because it's my fucking favourite ever. It's one of the coolest, sleekest designs for one. And then I wanted it to be multi-scale on 7-string, so I had to change that. I was thinking about keeping it 6-string, but for how expensive it is, I might as well make it the guitar that I want. But even then, the fact is the 7-string, I also sort of regret that in a way. I sort of wish I made it 8-string, but I need to try an 8-string before I do that. But I think it would just be good to have an extra guitar around, just for aesthetics and also just for, you know, writing in general. Because if I get my guitar hangers up, speaking of which, I could do it in a sort of row here. Maybe above my system. Could put one behind the monitor as well, but not near the plug socket. You know, that could work. I've got my guitar here, so I don't know why I just don't try that. Sorry. So let's see. It's pushing it, but that would work. I need to glue some posters, I think, because I won't be able to see that. It's not a bad thing though. So I have some room for it. But then again, I'm not sure if or when I'm moving, so it's kind of difficult to balance it too. I could do it moving them actually in front of me, but I'm not sure. Might be distracting. But yeah, I don't have anything else to add, so let's move on. I think I'm gonna try the audio interface. Yeah, I think it's finally time. Because I'm starting to record music again, even though I'm shit. I still think it's probably a better option than everything else, and also have a handy dandy audio thing here anyway. So it's like it came with something, I can't, or maybe it was just this anyway, the positive grid audio cable. But yeah, I think it's time to try it, because I saw something interesting. Because my FL Studio was laggy as fuck Speaking of which, I do need to sort of test it. But yeah, I found something interesting with that. Turns out that if you use an audio interface, it makes it less laggy. Because I've been using my YaHVeH cable, and admittedly didn't have too bad of a lag sort of spike, but it's very noticeable, and that means it needs changing to make it more accessible in that sense. Like, I don't know how to describe it. So I'll plug this in and see what happens. I was doing my bass to it. Recently restrung this bass and also using it with dirty hands, which is not good, but okay. I'm not the one who's buying it from cable. So I've both the YaHVeH and this one. It sounds loud. But I'll change the settings as well. I can't fucking grab my cable. There we go. Hopefully it'll work though. I could never get it in. It's a horrible crackling, but I think maybe resolve something else. Yeah, I think it's the cable itself, or maybe the buffer. Less of a delay is changing the settings, but I'm not sure. Change the buffer length again. Yeah, I think it's clipping. But yeah, even then, these settings kind of helps. If I do like a... Yeah, I don't know. But I think the audio interface is worth a try for sure. If I can't get this to work, this might be worth it then. If I try triple buffer. Yeah, I think it's just the fucking settings. But I changed the sample rate as well to see. I think that sort of helped it. But yeah, I think getting low latency is really important. I saw the tutorial video get 1 ms, both on the status and I think even on the buffer length. I think that's the main part that it needs help with, but I think an audio interface would be better for just clean tones and stuff. And obviously because I think the YaHVeH cable has its own amp, it sort of serves as its own amp, it becomes very difficult to balance it. So it does need, I think, a proper cable to make it cleaner, to make it safer as well. Also faster, better, stronger. No wait, that's not how the song goes. I did see someone make an interesting video with that actually once. They're like pressing the fucking buttons for everything, which is entertaining. Yeah, there's actually a word in that song. Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to trying it now because with everything else that's going on, I think it would be good to give that a shot, to give my guitars a good go, obviously, to try and make it work and stuff. And obviously with the chord guitar that I'm thinking of getting, it'll be very interesting to explore what I could do. And as for covers, I don't know if I will do it for covers because there's sort of a niche with that, trying to get that to work. So I'm not 100% sure if I'll still use it, but I might as well try. I'll see where I go with the actual music itself, like the originals, and then go from there. And I plan on remaking one of the covers I did a while ago, but it'll be much better, I think, because of how I'll do it. I need to write that down as well. There's a track in there, that's what it's called too. I fucking love that track. I revisited again. Yeah. I just want to try, I think. Might be a waste of money, I don't know. Could always send it back or sell it. I think it'd be worth it in the long run. Also, it might even be better for my setup overall. So I've just got an easier way to adjust the volume. And hopefully it just won't lag. But again, people suggest audio interfaces again constantly, and if they're wrong again, then yeah, fuck them. I don't really know if I could trust them again with this sort of advice. I think it's very important to get this solved. I do need to obviously use money to get that, which is annoying, because I don't fucking have any. But also, with training, I think I'll be able to. I've managed to sort of get down the BPM actually in this original track I'm working on, was working on actually. I was deciding to use it for something else, but I think I can get the BPM down. And it's just a matter of playing it to the beats and then adding the things in between. So it's sort of an easier way to figure out. I think I'll do the same with doing like covers whenever I get to that. The only thing I like about potentially recording covers is the idea that I can just add the techniques I want. So when there's like bends, I can do a proper bend. When there's a slide, I can do a proper slide. There's different ways that it could just work. And also, I can also, I'll repeat that, I can make a sort of variant on the tracks as well. The only thing I don't like about recording is probably the files, the way that it just saves it constantly, and I think you can delete the unused ones, which is great. But it's like so annoying, because the files just appear and then they're also not in sync because of the delay. So I don't even know how to adjust that exactly, to make it record on the exact point of the beat. Previously it wouldn't obviously do that, it sort of struggled. But potentially with a audio interface and also the MS being different, it would probably help. Also, that's a point, I reckon, would it need to go into USB 3 or USB 2? I never really considered that. Audio interface in USB 3 or below. I'm wondering. USB 2 versus 3. Error. Okay, thanks. Really helpful. And they show an error instead of solution. USB 2, USB 3. Yeah, the data rate is different. Oh yeah, that's a big difference. Version 2 is like 480 megabytes, which, to be fair, that's not that bad, but USB 3 is like 5 gigabytes, which is insane. So, that may be better. USB source and USB 2. Yeah, well, latency. So if we go on to this article, so if my interface is USB 3, it will work better than USB 2 and latency will be lower. Apparently. So yeah, that's a good thing. But yeah, I'm interested in trying it, to try and reduce the delay, because I swear it was to do with my headphones before, but I'm not 100% sure. Also, I think you can use USB headphones with it, even though there's no USB port on it. So it's going to be some experimentation, I think. I'm not going to get a new fucking pair. I felt that. I'd rather just sell the interface, I think, assuming again the Proximate cable doesn't work. Obviously, just to tell people I'm recording things again, trying to. I've got to start with a simpler song. I'm making an Iron Maiden style song, and I'm a bit on the edge about this because I think I'm going to make it power metal instead, because that's sort of what Iron Maiden is, but I'll say not like, Dragon Force style. But I think I can make it into power metal instead, and it'd still work, because with the vocal style of Bruce Dickinson, ironically, the track I'm making sort of goes against one of his things he pushed for, I think, at least a few years ago. Apparently he supported Brexit, but it's sort of ironic to use that style, so I'm not 100% sure. I'll figure things out as I make it. I think the vocal style will certainly be something to be desired, potentially. Yeah, anyway, let's move on. Well, I had one of the worst sleeps I've ever fucking had. I don't know what is going on. For some reason I just couldn't sleep properly. I woke up 4 times last night to nothing. Literally nothing. It wasn't even warm, it wasn't even like anxiety or anything. Trying to look at this actual sleep timer, it's misreporting it for some reason. It says 7 hours 18, which is longer than I should be. But I swear I've only gotten like 6 hours, but with interruptions. So it wasn't a smooth sleep. I woke up about 30 minutes after getting to sleep, then an hour after getting to sleep, and then 2 hours, I think it was 3 actually, hours after getting to sleep. Then obviously I woke up later, and it was the morning. And I swear I didn't even get to sleep. Because I swear I remember being awake the entire time. My god, it's such a fucking disaster. It's just not good, it's not sustainable. It's, it's worrying. Because my sleep patterns over the last few months have been terrible. I've looked at them, the trends, it's been like 3 days of bad sleep, 1 day of good sleep. Somehow. And it's not even related to exercise. Well, I'd understand if maybe the exercise helps me sleep, but it doesn't. The reality is it just didn't do anything. It never has, it's not going to stop me from doing it, but at the same time, it's kind of like I get more excuses to just not bother, to eat more. Because I just can't sustain this. It's ridiculous. So what do I even say here? What's on my mind, I guess? As those payments are being increased, I gave them a piece of my mind in the end and said I wouldn't pay anything until they explain things and talk it with me. I'm not sure if that's the right thing to do, but I ain't got much choice. So I don't know. Trying to think. Anything else? There's a lot of things that are just stressing me out at the moment anyway. Just a bunch of idiots online. It's not unsurprising. Not really much happening to change the world or anything. It just all seems like it's heading towards a genocide or a mass extinction. As per what I expected. Yeah, it's just really worrying. Trying to think. Is there anything else it could be? I guess the money situation. Yeah, that was the other thing. I was restringing the bass yesterday, and the action seems a bit low on it. So obviously you can't actually play like the first or second fret. I don't know why. What the deal is with that? Well, I don't even know how you do it. Well, I see the sort of screw holes that make it a bit more sort of jumpier, but I can't see how you do that, so I don't know. I suppose there'll be a warning on it. But it's so weird. But I was doing it, and it was just really fucking stressing me out. I've never had to restring a bass before, at least with those sort of holes. And the holes it has, for some reason, is actually like it's not even a hole. Like the hole's in the direct middle, looking up, downwards, and it has a slot. And I don't know what these slots are for exactly, because as far as I know, you wrap it around. But it's just kind of weird. Like, what am I supposed to do? So I tried wrapping it around with like some of the bigger ones, and it just struggled to do that. And then eventually I was just getting really frustrated with it. I had to cut bits of it off, obviously, because you have to try and fit it in. And I cut myself not once but twice. I'm trying to get the other fucking bits in. So honestly, the best way to tune is probably like lowest to highest. I could be wrong. Maybe that's a bit more dangerous, but I did it lowest to highest. Highest to lowest, maybe better. I could be wrong. But it was a fucking disaster, and I was bleeding for like an hour from my finger. It's not even a big cut, it's like... How would I describe it? It's like the size of a fucking herb. On those cut up herbs, the dry ones. And it's bleeding constantly, and it still hurts and feels numb now. Also, I don't know if I've got like tinnitus or what. I don't know. Tinnitus, that's a different thing. What's the other one? Tetanus, was that? Sound two the same. So I've got Tetris, and yeah, I don't know. Possibly have it. But the other guy is just a little hole. It wasn't even bleeding. It's just so fucking annoying. Oh, what is going on? Just don't understand this shit anymore. I feel like it's just like a massive punishment, and then the heat wave obviously as well. I tried with the door closed last night, but it's getting too warm, even at 26 degrees. Just too humid, I think, and so I ended up sort of opening the door in the morning. Luckily enough, it comes in. Surprised, because usually something comes in. But I couldn't see anything. I did see anything. So that's good, but it didn't drop the temperature much. Just 1 degree, which is not good enough in my opinion. And frankly, if houses are like this in the UK, the government needs to do something. There needs to be a worldwide protest. Because this will also affect other countries where they have the same issue. We absolutely need something to be done about this, like an outtake fan or some sort of ventilation, or something like that. We just need something to get rid of the fucking air. It's way too warm for this shit. We're not built for this. These houses are not built for this. And this pile of shit I'm in at the moment, God knows what is wrong with it, but it just gets warm regardless. I have my aircon on, I have the curtains closed, and I don't have a silk it on yet. I plan on doing that at some point, but it still gets warm, even with the aircon on. What the fuck do I do? I try to leave it on as much as I can to cool things down, and then I turn it off to warm up again, and then I turn it on again to cool down, and the process repeats. So always trying to be efficient as well. I don't just leave it on like 24/7. There's one thing I'm planning to do today that might help, I don't know. I think I'll put my aircon on, use a treadmill, do a walk, and see what happens. But I'll aim a fan so that it will redirect some of the air back to me. I don't know how well that will work. I'm waiting to see, but I really need the exercise, I think. Anyway, I need to move on, I think, because I need to do a shit. Well, I should have talked about it earlier. I just got sidetracked and ignored. I saw the Reckless Ben video. Yeah, he updated breaking silence on Bricks and Minifigs lawsuit. And yeah, it's extremely concerning. There isn't really much else to say, because I've pretty much repeated it ad nauseum. Yeah, just so much corruption. They found an excuse to levy against Reckless Ben, which is terrible. That is literally corruption, and apparently the police officer, according to a comment, was, I think, under investigation for essentially killing someone who had a drug problem. They basically ignored the drug problem, and basically the overdose killed them because she didn't take them to hospital. So yeah, that's weird. And the fact that same person is doing this shit is just awful. I don't even know why she has a job. It's just confusing. But yeah, there isn't much I can say on this topic really, because it's the same thing again and again. It's just pure and blatant corruption, and obviously what's happening here and what Bricks and Minifigs are doing is silencing and being silent. They're using both strategies. They can't be found guilty if they don't use any words. That's essentially what they're doing. Though stupidly they go into interviews and stuff. Even confronted CoffeeZilla. But still, it's such a big fucking problem. Because this is the kind of shit that causes trouble here. It's not the only thing that causes trouble, to be fair, but it is still bad. It ties into that thing I've been saying for a while. We need an anti-corruption union. We need someone to investigate, find demonstrable evidence of things, obviously being able to get all the relevant information, like bin statements and stuff. You know, it's so interesting, because these people who are corruptible often have the same sort of traits. You know, look at Donald Trump, for example, corrupt. J.D. Vance, corrupt. YaHVeH, corrupt. And even then, you've got some people who fell from grace, seemingly. Like Elon Musk, obviously corrupt. You've got... I'm trying to think of other people. You've got people in the UK, like Keir Starmer. Nigel Farage was almost corrupt, so we don't really count that, but he's still bad. Yeah, again, so much corruption. And it just really pushes the point home that we cannot allow this shit to happen. It is dangerous. And this is why we need an anti-corruption unit. It's ridiculous. So something obviously needs to change. And what are we even doing? Because if we don't have a way to overpower these really bad decisions, these really bad places to obviously overrun it, overthrow, whatever it is, then we're just going to be fucked constantly. And the thing with the anti-corruption unit is it should be separate from government. In fact, it should be, you know, United Nations. It should be in the EU by default. That way we can protect everyone. And obviously they might be thinking, like, what do you mean anti-corruption? It's going to mean that everyone's going to get fucking, like, obviously thrown from government. I don't know what you call that actually when you fire someone for government or president or whatever. But they'll say that, and that just reveals themselves. Like, if you weren't doing anything wrong, you wouldn't need to be arguing against this. So it makes sense. You know, guilty people will fight back against this, and innocent people stay silent. At least for the most part, although some people will play it smart and be silent even if they're not innocent. But that's exactly the problem. The only people who take issue with this are the people whose finances will be affected by it, because they can't be billionaire funded, they can't be touched by others or something like that. Again, it's just backfires. That's the benefit of anti-corruption units, as I'll call it. I'm not sure what the name of it for it would be, like ACU, I don't know. It probably means something else though. But an ACU would be good. Just better for everything, and it includes even stuff like positions of power like CEOs, CFOs, even stuff like, you know, like we've seen here, like employees, like police officers, like hell, even FBI and CIA. Well, let's just throw them out there, because let's be honest, they're still corruptible, as corruptible as everyone else. Just because they are intelligent places, intelligencies, I don't know what you call them actually. It doesn't mean they're not corruptible. And that's the thing, even if they sort of technically do serve as a anti-corruption unit, it's obvious that without another body or authority that cannot be controlled by government, or even like public even, except for like whistleblowing and stuff, then we're just fucked. Things are just getting screwed, and then we even have to take into account the way of corruption where someone can be influenced. So, let's say that, as an example, like Biden, I hate to use his name, but he is a president. But let's say he got corrupted, like, someone managed to lure him into a meeting room and basically hold him at gunpoint to take a bribe from Elon Musk. Like, yeah, that's corruption, and honestly, investigating it, they should find out whether or not he was held at gunpoint in the first place, because that should be the first question we ask. It shouldn't be just, corrupt, gone. It should just be, look at the facts here, look at the evidence, and mount it all. Take it further if it needs to be. But that's the entire point. That's exactly what needs to be done. And even if they can't stop it, like, at the exact moment, let's say they give $1 billion to Elon Musk for some reason, even then, there's still time and there's still a way to address it, and even then can reverse it. Again, looking at Elon Musk, for example, because obviously he's the one who instigated it in his hypothetical, and so he's obviously the corrupt one, and then should be dealt with as necessary. Should be arrested, should be thrown in prison, and assets seized as well, everything, including the company, and given back to the public. So it actually benefits everyone. It sort of serves as a wealth tax without a wealth tax, if that makes sense. But I've been trying to wrap my brains about how exactly you can go about an anti-corruption unit. I think people need to be trained in it, and obviously we need to have different nationalities involved so that we don't have a bias, different, like, everything really. Like, diversity should be default, even disabled person, even someone who's technically intellectually disabled should be in there. Just as long as they have their heart in the right place, obviously with being anti-corruption and stuff. I could be wrong, but the way I see it, that's the only way to get around it. To understand how to address these issues to begin with. So we stop shit like this from happening, like Bricks and Minifigs from doing all this shit. They should be forced to, at least, be forced to pay up to the people they've obviously affected in this, for all the money they cost Reckless Ben, for all the money that they cost, obviously Brian, who had his Lego set stolen. It's such a simple solution and an effective means of getting somewhere. But even then, if they don't do that, then it should be seized. Every asset should be seized under new control, and then anti-corruption units take over for all the job. So they take CEO, CFO, whoever's in it, whoever's involved in the corruption, and then replace it eventually. Like, get someone in the company itself to take the position. Also sign like agreements and stuff per the corruption unit, and this is what I mean. Sort of when they sign that contract as well, they're also subject to immediate like withdrawal or imprisonment for corruption. I think that much should be obvious. It's not so much a scare tactic, but rather a safety mechanism. It should keep people in the know, it should keep people aware. And they might think stupidly, like, oh, it's only if we get caught. Like, how do you think your money fucking travels? You will get fucking caught. If you like it or not, it happens. It's just so dumb that people think they're above everything else, and these are the sort of people who are corruptible as well. So yeah, it's absolutely absurd. And I hope we do see something like this in the future, an anti-corruption unit, to address this issue, because it's severely needed in my opinion. Yeah, I don't know what else to add. I've pretty much exhausted everything about this. But a simple one, I'm not gonna lie. And I hope to see solutions in the future. So yeah, let's move on. Actually, this is the other thing with anti-corruption I should add. It's really important. People are going to ask it no matter what. But how do you define corruption? Good question. Corruption definition, let's see. I'm pretty sure I know it, but let's see. Dishonest and fraudulent conduct for those in power, typically involving bribery. Literally. But I'd also add some other clauses to that, saying it's also when something becomes, let's say, too consequential. So it's not just corrupt, it's evil. So when something is too consequential to people or the planet, it therefore is a form of corruption. And I think that is really obvious. I think with fuel companies, for example, charging too much to people is a big consequence. So they get affected. And because of how severe that is, again, that legally, by the ACU, it really requires a full reform of that company. So it's about changing the people responsible for those positions who did this to people, and giving them the right choices, like obviously lowering the prices to what they should be per an expert, because they should hire experts to figure it out, and then potentially even having those experts run the company so that they can actually deal with the issues here. And I'm trying to think of something else, like maybe we're looking at, I'm trying to think actually of one of the other things. And what's another thing that's bad? Data centers, AI data centers. I think obviously we shouldn't have them. And per the corruption unit, it should be treated as a consequence to humanity. Because it affects everyone, it affects climate change, it should be treated as like a red level threat rather than brown level, as I'd probably call it. And it should immediately seize the assets, destroy the consequence, because it's essentially the same as putting a fire on the earth, causing wildfires and shit, and obviously take out water and stuff and raising bills. And that's the thing, you take over everything from that. And so you can't have AI data centers, and then people should be compensated for it through the assets. They should be given a year-long sort of salary for the people who were working that job to figure out what they should do. Maybe even 2 years, depending on how much they got. Just as like an apology thing. Because there's a lot of innocent people involved in this, let's not forget that. So that's important. Again, that's how you define corruption. And then if you look at something more minor, I would say there's a small business, maybe, I'm trying to think like a restaurant, who takes money from, let's say, a company like, I don't know, Big Beef. Just a lack of a better solution or suggestion rather. But you know, the beef industry is inherently corrupt, and animal agriculture is as a whole. And the way we address that, obviously, is we look at practices, we address them, we get rid of the people in charge and get better management, and also the employees who did that. So on that smaller scale, admittedly it's still big though, because it happens everywhere, you get people to reform the entire thing so animals are treated better while we try and transition into plant-based agriculture, which is where it's at really. So like, there shouldn't be any animals killed without a reason, and at the moment we don't have a good reason because there literally isn't one. And that's per experts, that's per not just like ethical belief, because that's what people associate with, but it's actually like a widely known thing among people who understand sentience. The animals have feelings and thoughts, they're subjective beings, but they are here with us, and so that needs to be addressed too. Again, looking at like a restaurant who takes bribes for promoting like the beef industry and stuff, having like all beef on their menu, which impacts climate change. For a business like that, I think someone should be imprisoned because they're practicing something that's very harmful to the planet, and they're just doing something very inherently wrong to people. It affects their health. It can even affect their enjoyment because their health affects their enjoyment as well. So it's not good. They're promoting garbage, and they should be dealt with. So the restaurant needs to be reformed, obviously, the owner needs to be gone, replaced. And I think obviously the menu needs to be reformed as well. But you also sort of get experts to advise on it. So in like these corruption units, you hire people like as like freelancers, I guess, I don't know what the actual term is, to figure out how to fix the menu to make it healthier, to make it better for people. And you do it that way and it just kind of works out in the end. And like, yeah, it might mean the local place doesn't do as well, but why would you even promote something that's evil? That's often the question I come to. Like, they might not make profit, they might even close down, but why then does that outweigh the evil that they do? It makes no sense. It's like McDonald's. McDonald's would be shut down in an instant. KFC would be shut down in an instant. Burger King would be shut down in an instant, because all these places that promote animal agriculture and don't treat their animals properly are all fucking broken. And then their menus are awful. Yeah, I was looking at on the older menus a while ago because I heard it from Limmy. Apparently there's like a restaurant chain called Wimpy, and this I remember from childhood. when I used to be travelling around on holiday a lot with my family. And I was looking at the menus trying to see if they have any vegan options, and they had only like one or two, and it wasn't even like a burger or anything, just shit. It's kind of exactly the issue with these things, because it just doesn't help. It's inherently bad for a menu. It's got no like healthy choices. It offers the unhealthiest fucking shit. Like triple stack burgers, I think I saw them there. I could be wrong. They even have my favourite on there, which is actually not too bad actually in terms of health. But like I think it's what was it? It's like the bendy sausage thing. I used to cook them a lot actually as a kid. Put them in the microwave, slice them off a bit. Goes well on the burger. It's weird how that works. That's how you cook it. Like, I can't remember who taught me that actually, because I didn't really have any chefs in my family. Although we did have one employee, Bob would be. Surprisingly, I haven't shared that fact before. But I don't think it was even them. So yeah. Again, it goes to show the corruption it may almost be everywhere, but we need to address it from highest threat to lowest. And I consider restaurants low threat, fast food chains medium threat, but definitely at the top would be something like government and, you know, even those big operations like AI data centers and transport, for example, and fuel. You know, they're high threat. They actively fuck over humanity. And I guess you might wonder, like, where does funding come from? It should be just taxes from each country. There should be a part of it contribute to the unit itself. And obviously have them deployed in each country where they should be. And that will basically just decide if they could do things or not. But then there's also the issue of what if a corrupt like billionaire also just tries to respond to it. Like maybe they try and hire a hitman. That's the only problem with this, I think, because there isn't too much you can do exactly, but these sort of jobs would be dangerous anyway. Even technically being a civilian is putting yourself in danger when you're trying to oppose something. So it's kind of not that different. It's kind of like daily life in a way. But in terms of stopping like hitmen and stuff, there isn't too much you can do unless you bring around obviously your own sort of security, like you have your own trained gunmen and stuff, and armed to the teeth as well. Like, not to mention you could probably have a tank if it comes to that, but be able to use military assets if need be. So you have like ex-veterans and stuff who are able to know this shit, know where their heart should be as well. Assuming they haven't got problems like PTSD or even just completely fucked up psychopathic behaviour. But you know, there are people who belong in that sort of job, even if they are retired. And they sort of have their own sort of mission there that they can do. It's basically another day at work, but a little more safe. And that'd be very important, I think. Even just acting as bodyguards and stuff. You just know that would be a far easier job. And they're trained to do high action stuff. So it kind of works out anyway. But yeah, I don't really know what else to add to this really. Again, I just like the aspect of an anti-corruption unit. Even then it could just be a trial for starters. Although we don't really have much time, to be fair. A lot of this shit needs to be dealt with now, rather than later. That's the main issue. But, you know, something like Palestine being genocided, we need to deal with Israel. Somebody needs to do that. Because obviously starting a war is not going to help, but a corruption unit to deal with them, you know, they'd get the job done. They'd find a way to seize his assets and replace him in government, because that is absolutely necessary at this point. But yeah, that'll be a far more effective way. Probably do even the same thing with like Putin and Russia. It's probably possible. But it depends on the sort of units they're on and stuff, and obviously given that they're protected and overseen by United Nations, also funded by them, there's also a reason for them to look after each other. So it's sort of a mutual relationship sort of thing. So it would be beneficial. So you sort of have to look into that and do that as you may. But even then, it might not even be Putin, it might just be the army general. So you have to look at, again, the threats, the actual threats here. So if you can't get Putin, you get the next worst person, essentially, which would be the army general, the Kremlin, whatever you call it. So yeah, I don't really have anything else to add. Again, it seems like a very promising idea. I could be wrong about it entirely, but we need something to do with it, because humanity cannot last this long under shit leadership and shit people. So yeah, let's move on. Well, I felt like discussing this a bit. Also, fun facts about the image, seeing it's glitchy. You can see the water for some reason going through, which I never realised in taking the screenshot, which is annoying. But I don't think there's a way to fix it, looking at that there. Yeah, I really don't know what that bug is. It's either a screen space reflection issue or something else. You can sort of see some of the foliage doesn't have any shadows. Anyway, I just found out why the money they're charging more, but it still feels a bit scummy because I was still mauled about it. It came out of nowhere, and they didn't elaborate until a few days later, when the stress had beaten me up and made me lose sleep. So thanks for that. But at the same time, I also don't understand the reason, because to me it feels very off in a way. Because before it would have taken off about, say, because it is still scummy, like, to be clear, but before I was getting around under 1,000, let's say, and that would have been taking up just about 8%, I think, as an example, but probably 15 at a stretch. Now though, 25%. Like, what? Again, it is corruption, it is greed. I don't know what their numbers are. I tried to ask and they didn't really answer me on that, so I think there is a potential sign of corruption here. I sort of need to have another discussion about it, because they, for some stupid reason, have to do it on the phone. But taking up, like, from 15% to 25% is a lot of fucking money. Especially now, when I'm actually over the 1,000 mark. And I can reveal that, because it's not really revealing a specific wage. But I think that is actually kind of illegal, but I don't know. I don't know why it's illegal to reveal your wage, so I don't know. Well, I say wage, but mine's benefits. But what the fuck is going on here? 25%? Something's wrong with the calculation. Because I don't actually understand it. Because something's wrong here, because I know I get a certain amount of money, and this also amounts to the number I'm thinking of, where it's actually kind of a flat number. And 25% of that happens to be this exact number. It's just a bit above what I'm getting. Like, if I was to take 10% of what I get, that's already tons of money. But to do like 20%, it's just insane. In fact, I think it is about 50%. I'd better do a calculator, I think. So, previously, let's see, I would have gotten this money minus the amount I paid. So, yeah, I don't know what percentage. How do you calculate a percentage on that? I don't know actually. So, that number. No, I'm doing it wrong again. 10% of. That would even work though. 10% of. What the fuck is going on with the calculator? 10% of. That's. 10%. Yeah, okay, so it's about 15%. Or 12% actually. So I'm guessing it's actually like 12%. I did it wrong again, I keep fucking up the calculator. So 12%. Did it? What the fuck is going on with this calculator? Equals, and then 10%. I did it again, I don't know. Again, the calculator's a bit weird and I'm too tired for this. I only got about 5 hours sleep last night. One more time, 12%, I did a fraction, that's not much bad. So no, it's actually about 15% as I was calculated. Like, what? It's so confusing. So they're charging me more now. So, you have to do 15. Oh, fuck's sake. 15%. The calculator is so buggy, I swear. Wait, 80, everything. Okay, no, nothing. Fuck a calculator. So equals, and then 15. Yeah, about 12% actually. So I do the recent one, and I think I've calculated it correctly if I have. So the amount I get. So that plus that, then 15% is almost that number. So actually I'm kind of wrong, which is interesting, but they've increased it by a bit of a percent, which is the annoying part. And I think that small percentage is what actually has caused problems here, from what I can tell. So let's do it again, like that number, then equal, then fucking calculator. I fucking hate Windows calculator. I wonder if there's a different one. I don't know what the buttons do, like C does the same thing, it seems. I don't know, let's do 16%. But yeah, okay, the calculator's wrong to start up, that's weird. That's not 16%, you fucking idiot. What is going on with technology now? It's so dumb, what the fuck? Equals what? I don't know. Essentially, it does feel like an increase in the cost, so. Well, weirdly enough, it's not too dissimilar, but at the same time, it's like it's gone over double, and that's my problem here. Because where I would have understood the very precise calculation, this doesn't make sense. Because I do pay a certain amount towards rent, I pay a certain amount towards bills, which mainly is only a small portion, it's about 8% I think, of my actual entire income towards the bills. About 40% I'd say towards rent, which is a lot, just keep in mind. So 48% already goes to that. And now I've got this additional bill, which is 15%, so already it's piling up and it's going to make me poorer now. I've actually already cancelled a subscription for PS2 software, which is called Serum. Unfortunately I don't do a fucking paid version, one-time payment I mean. And looking at my subscriptions, I got what? There's one, but that should be done soon. So 2, 3, 4, 5, so 5 subscriptions. And yeah, they take about a portion of my money, luckily about 2 or 3%, which is not bad, but the guitar takes more. Yeah, it's just yikes overall. It's not a good situation. And given that I'm having to pay more just to get my situation under control as well, it's just nuts, and I'm looking to sell some things as well, as you may know. Yeah, it's such an annoying situation because it just came out of nowhere and they've gone over double the amount, it seems. So they went from about 13%, I'd say, is actually the previous one, to about 17 or 18 now, which is not good. What the fuck? So yeah. Don't really know what else to add. It's just pure corruption. The thing is, under a restore government, it's going to be even more corrupt. Like, people will mock the other parties for trying, even like Count Binface, for example, which I've heard about, never mentioned. I do like Count Binface, it's quite funny, it's boomer brain rot in a summary. But it's so fucking bad, the situation in the UK. That's why we even have Count Binface to begin with. It's just terrible. Like, what the hell? It sucks. Yeah, it's going to get worse under the wrong type of government, so we won't actually get many benefits. So I don't know. Again, I'm just in a rough spot here, and I am willing to work for some money. That's the thing, but I don't want to lose the amount I'm getting, because if I work, I'll get fired. If I do actual work, and then if I do something freelancery, like commissions, which I very much wouldn't mind doing, I'd have to do it in my own time. As in, I have to do it with my hobbies as I currently do them, and by rather per sort of selection sort of thing. So if people sign up, there's a wait list, unfortunately, and that's going to have to be it. I'll do like one a month, and that would just get me a bit of extra cash, but it's still not good. It's still shite. So I don't know. Again, I have considered it, but even then, commissions, I don't know what to go for in terms of pricing. Like, do I just write an intro to someone, or an outro, or cover something with the risk, obviously, of copyright? But that also creates issues because it's sort of illegal to do covers, I think, if you're profiting. Whereas you can donate, and that's not actually profiting. But yeah, like, commissioning for covers is kind of a rough thing. I don't know. I'm just extremely frustrated by this. It's so fucking annoying. Anyway, I shall move on. Well, I'd like to tell you this, but I've started another series, not surprisingly, after the crappy one, Schitt's Creek, and I'm happy to report this one is actually good, so far. I've only seen 3 episodes. I'm quite impressed with it. And the series is, to be specific, BBC Ghost. Because I'm pretty sure there are other shows named that, and that complicates things, obviously. So, obviously, that's a kind of a bad point of it. Could have had a different name, I think. Like Ghosts in something. Ghosts in like a certain region or something. You could have made it iconic. But no. It didn't bother for some reason, so it's just a bit off in that sense. So I think it's maybe a popularity thing, where they name these things really simply, and then if there's a more popular that comes up instead of the other things, so maybe you want to watch Ghosts on, I don't know, like Fox News? It's so weird, I don't know. Just Fox a channel, I think Fox has channels, if I'm not mistaken. They have to. Simpsons were bought by them, I think, at one point. Anyway, yeah, this series is surprising. I'm not going to lie, and when I first heard about it, which was a recommendation I had, by the way, I thought this would be like your sister's favourite show to watch, because I didn't know what to expect. Because the premise, I think, was kind of like that, and it certainly has like a morbid aspect, but I forgot to write that about the last episode. It's so funny that Mike did. But yeah, as I described it in this notepad I wrote briefly, I was like, why have I got this open? Piss off. Where's it gone? There it is. It's a weird thing with notepads. So, yeah, again, I sort of saw it as your sister's favourite show. And that wasn't a good way to view it, but I'll explain it. It's sort of like the iCarly to your SpongeBob, the My Little Pony to your Pokemon, and the Peppa Pig to your Sonic. Wait, maybe those are 2 extremes. But this actually turned out fine. I was pleasantly surprised with some of the humour. It's like British humour. It has some funny ideas and stuff, and it's a great idea as well. It just revolves around these ghosts which inhabit a mansion and technically the world in general. So I won't spoil anything about that. But they inhabit the mansion, and eventually, spoiler, sort of, the character is able to see them. On the living is able to see them, and I wouldn't say who. That's kind of obvious then. Unfortunately, this is the thing. It's hard to talk about it without spoiling it, but there are 6 series, so yeah. But it explores the character development and details of these ghosts, and it also has like standard sort of British humour and stuff, and some funny moments. It's entirely a comedy, but it's pretty unique as well, because I don't really know any shows that have done this sort of thing. They explore ghosts in a funny way, except for obviously like Scooby-Doo, but that's a show that's rated for children. And this one's kind of PG, I think, at best, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know how you find the age rating on BBC. Maybe more? Nope. Yeah, it's weird. They usually say an age rating, I think, unless it's at the beginning or end, maybe. I don't know. But I'd say it's like sort of bordering an E in the PG, like 7 plus, maybe 12 plus, maybe. But it's not like profound, nude, or even like swearing or violent. At least it's not that violent. But I did notice they didn't show blood in one of the scenes, which is interesting. At least I couldn't notice it. I forgot to write that down, but it doesn't really matter much. But it's certainly an interesting aspect for a show. Its acting is decent. Its sort of direction is actually pretty clever, because it sort of records 2 different scenes, which is quite an insane thing to do for a show. It does require more effort, but depending on how they do it, it's a bit easier, and I can see how they managed it. But it's certainly up there as being somewhat clever, and it's just something unique. It's something you can appreciate. They put the extra effort into, and they do have scenes where it transitions and stuff. So that's that. But what else is there? Trying to think. So acting fine, directing fine. I guess the set is somewhat good. It's not the best thing. It's a very dark show from that perspective, like with enough in both ways. Because it gets you thinking like philosophically about the ghost, and then it's dark also in the visual sense. As in, even like again the philosophical way, ethics way, whatever you call it. And like just visually again, like the way they record it, there's not tons of natural lighting, hence the sort of set of the show. Which isn't a bad thing, just to be clear. But I just find it very interesting that they chose that direction, because most shows would just go for vibrant and sort of flashy. But this is kind of like not really. Just pretty interesting. What else is there? I can't really think for that for some reason. But I suppose I need to go into like the story itself. I've sort of already explained it though, the premise. Again, it just shows you the interactions, and eventually things come to fruition and stuff. And, yeah, some interesting turn of events and surprising moments as well. So far, anyway. But the humour as well, I can rate the comedy here. It's pretty good. It's not afraid to go to the sexual route, which is interesting. But admittedly, it's more clever, because in other shows they'd be quick to fucking undress each woman and each man as much as possible, and here it's like, literally from the get-go there's someone involved in a fucking sex scandal. It's like, okay, sure. And it's better that it's actually a ghost as well, so it's actually kind of funny. So yeah, I do like that aspect, and certainly the comedy works with this concept too. It also tackles some of the other questions I had as well, which I was surprised by, because most shows don't do that. Because you do get thinking logically about how viable this would be in real life. The only thing I had a question about, even after the fact, is when they went outside and you can see the shadows of the ghosts. I'm not sure if they're supposed to do that. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure ghosts don't cast shadows. So I don't know about that. It's a bit weird, but you can obviously see how they filmed it sort of together, and it's fine from that perspective. I do think that maybe could have been an extra detail at best. Not necessary, but it could have been extra to address that. So Ghost didn't actually cast a shadow. And then in terms of story, again, there's not much else. Again, leading to the sort of main character of the series, if you can call her that, Alison, and obviously there's Mike as well, and also the other characters. But yeah, the characters I need to talk about, because they're very good, they're well designed. So they have interesting stories behind them, and you can even see, because this is a cool detail, but you can actually sort of figure out the cause of death just by looking at them. And some of them is kind of interesting and weird, but I think others are very unpredictable. It's very strange actually sometimes. That's an aspect of it I like, because you really cannot tell. So it's kind of neat from, again, that perspective. You really get an idea for what these characters are going to be like as well from the get-go. And they're not all the same. I would say some of them are a bit similar, but they're not all the same. There are different personalities and different ideas and stuff, and I think everyone's kind of, in a weird way, like bi-curious, which is interesting, but it wouldn't surprise me as well. It sort of goes deep into that sort of. It gets you thinking a lot as well. It's just surprising for just a comedy show based around ghosts being goofy and shit. So you don't expect that. So again, it's one of those surprising aspects. But yeah, I'm very impressed, I'm not gonna lie. I think it's certainly above average for a comedy, and you know, if we compare it to another British comedy, I'm trying to think of one I saw recently that isn't old, but the problem is they're all pretty much old. League of Gentlemen, probably the closest one, but it's not the same, it's dark comedy. But Red Dwarf, I would say, is probably similar-ish. It's a bit dystopian as well, but again, really hard to compare. But I'd say it's just almost on par with Red Dwarf as a comparison, and a bit farther behind than No, it's actually ahead of League of Gentlemen. What was I saying? I didn't like League of Gentlemen that much. It's a bit far ahead on that. But it can't compare to Only Fools and Horses, for example. You know, that's not going to really change, to be honest. It's always going to be a king, I think. Because there's no way it can be not anything else. Trying to think, is there anything else to mention here? To add? No, I don't think there is. It's actually, again, somewhat good, and even just from the outset here, I can kind of recommend it, but I have to see the rest of it to see, because I am sort of curious, like, what is the rest of it going to be like in reality, to show whether it's good or bad. It's always got the chance to be bad, I think. It depends. But I honestly don't see this concept really fucking up badly, to be entirely honest. I think if suddenly got a good premise, it's going to be hard to screw up, I think, if it ever does get screwed up. But yeah, I don't have anything else to add. That's my thoughts on BBC Ghosts. It's, well, actually, I should end the podcast. It's gone for a while anyway. And I need to go and cook, because I'm hungry and stuff. But yeah, thanks for listening, and see everyone next time. Boo.